President Trump pivoting to 2020 by setting his sights on potential Democratic contenders. Trump mocking the Green New Deal that many of them support, but says he hopes that they make the Green New Deal part of the campaign.
Now, I'm only afraid that we're going to be too hard on the Green New Deal, and they're not going to do it because I want them to do it. We don't want to have them knock it out before we get to run against it. The Green New Deal, done by a young bartender, 29 years old. The Green New Deal. You know, but it's crazy. You know, the first time I heard it, I said, that's the craziest thing. You have senators that are professionals, that you guys know, that have been there for a long time, white hair, everything perfect, and they're standing behind her and they're shaking, they're petrified of her. Please don't kill it, because we want to be able to run against it. If they beat me with the Green New Deal, I deserve to lose.
All right, that's a good line.
That's a great line. You know, the Green New Deal is exactly the thing a child does in class in an arts and crafts, project. It's, a collage of rainbows and glitter, and it's something that deserves to be on the front of a refrigerator, held by a magnet with love by your mom. But that's not enough. That's not enough of a criticism. I think that Trump should also match their fantasy with reality and go, look, I credit them for their lofty ambitions. But as a Republican, businessman, I can solve this problem with clean, safe nuclear power. And if you don't believe me, you will believe Bill Gates, not Ben, his brother, but Bill Gates, who is pushing, nuclear power. So it's not some crazy right-winger. It's, the richest liberal on the planet. I don't know if mentioning AOC is a wise decision, because this, she's a problem for Dems the way Trump was a problem for Republicans. She just gets the heat.
It's like it fuels her.
Yeah, it fuels her.
The more that you make fun of her, Jesse, the more it builds her up.
But there's strategy behind that, because what he's doing is creating tension in the Democratic ranks by bruising the egos of all the professional politicians by saying you're getting led around by this young, idiotic bartender from the Bronx, and she doesn't know what she's talking about. And so that puts him in a tough position. But he's also sarcastically using reverse psychology. He's like, oh, wow, I can't wait to run against this Green New Deal. I don't want to hit it too hard because I don't want to kill the baby in the crib, but I'm not going to say anything, but I'm licking my chops. And that also humiliates the Democrats, because deep down, even the Democrats know it's a political loser. And people don't give President Trump credit for his policy chops, for his political chops, because governing has proven a little bit more difficult, but on a campaign trail, he took out a Bush, took out a Clinton, was outspent, and broke down the blue wall.
Kennedy, do you think that the Green New Deal probably plays really well in districts where you have big Democratic majorities, but not so much in the swing districts where Democrats just won to take back the House majority?
Yes, I think it plays very well in the bubbles where there is a big cosmopolitan bias, in fact, and this is the first time that Republicans have actually been very passionate and very competent about capitalism, and the Green New Deal allowed them to reframe the discussion on capitalism in a very beneficial way. For months and months, as we've slowly seen the Democrat Party turn more and more progressive, I've been wondering, where are the Republicans? Where are the champions of, economic liberalism and a solid economy and small business and entrepreneurship? Why aren't they fighting for those values? And they finally were able to do that with the Green New Deal, and I think that's why the president doesn't want to let it go. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, in response to the president, said, the last guy who underestimated me lost. And she's right about that.
Well, that was
I don't think you should underestimate. I think the problem for Democrats is they are overestimating her.
Yeah.
And that's going to be
so tomorrow night, Brett Baier and Martha McCallum are going to do this town hall with Howard Schultz, who's threatening a third-party run against Democrats. Well, a third-party run, but Democrats are worried about that. And then Bernie Sanders is going to also do one, I think, April 15th in Detroit. How do you think that they might deal with the Green New Deal on a stage like that?
Well, I don't think it's any question. Almost all of them have endorsed the Green New Deal. And the reason is it's a winner. I love it that you guys laugh. I mean, to me, you know what's laughable? What's laughable is Trump last night saying, you know what? Oh, these wind turbines, the noise from them cause cancer. Really, Mr. President? Wow. Wind turbines cause cancer. This is new. This
sounds like a liberal.
No, I mean, it's just wild, wacky stuff that he says. And then, of course, how condescending is the way I took it. Oh, this bartender wait a minute. This young woman is extraordinary, brilliant, just won her campaign, is making inroads. She has no real power at the moment as a junior member. She's making inroads, and you want to belittle her. Oh, I see where you're coming from. I mean, it doesn't speak well of you, but it does say a lot about her. But I will say, again, the Green New Deal, if you look at the absence of discussion about climate change and global warming from Republicans, it does. It has elements of the economy.
UBI, free college, Medicare for all. That's within the Green New Deal. That's not a Green New Deal. That's Green New dog crap.
No, this is part of an effort to change our economic structure, not only to address income inequality,
and have it swirl down
but
the
toilet. To deal with the fact that we are so
$93 trillion
over-reliant
if that's a winner.
on
That's
oil.
a loser. You know what happens when the economy suffers? People die.
It's not going to suffer. In fact, what we see right now, the big pushes in terms of jobs
and the $700 billion a year on the military. We're going to spend $93 billion over 10 years. $9 billion a year on this farm. We got to run. That's a winner?
You keep shouting, but in between your shouting, allow me to say that what they're talking about is looking at this issue while Republicans and Trump refuse to talk about it.
But to Kennedy's point, expanding this, the Green New Deal is about upending the most efficient, phenomenal economic system in the history of the world. That somehow this is suffering.
We don't even need to argue. Don't even argue. You said it's a winner. Let him run on it.
You
tell that to people right now who can't afford $400.
I can tell them.
No. Okay.
I can tell them.
The five wants to be very clear. We always support our bartenders. like
Especially
big time.
me.
Excellent. Okay.
The world's most famous 29-year-old, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, is facing new allegations tonight that she violated campaign finance law. According to a newly filed FEC complaint, the Congresswoman and her chief of staff operated in an illegal subsidy scheme. They ran a network of interconnected political action committees. The complaint says this allowed her to raise more money than she would have been allowed to legally. Melissa Francis is a Fox Business anchor, co-host of Outnumbered, a frequent guest on the show, and very good at detail. So we've asked her to come on tonight and explain what this complaint says.
Well, I read the complaint, and the way it reads, it's actually a very clever scheme. It looks like they set up a company, and you could be sort of a venture investor in this company. And they said it was going to be like the Uber of political campaigns. So anyone could, kind of come up and start their campaign, and you could get political services for way below market price. The problem is that the company went out of business. It seems from the complaint, that's how it reads, and this is all alleged, but the company basically spent most of its money on her campaign. The investors never got anything back. They just helped her campaign. So, if you think about that in the worst light, it sounds like if you were a finance smart money guy, which her chief of staff, who you saw in that photo, is a tech multimillionaire. I mean, I'm sure your chief of staff is also super wealthy, but I don't know how common that is. But anyway, he's good with money. And he, set up this company. Now, is it illegal? Who knows? As I've said before, the people who write the laws about campaign finance are these very crooked politicians who are trying to hang on to power. And they're the ones that write the laws. So I don't know if it's illegal. The complaint was brought by a conservative group, and that's her defense. She says this is the right attacking her. We'll see how the investigation goes. But I think the main point is that she was supposed to be about getting money out of politics and about transparency. Where's the money coming from? And what we're seeing is more and more evidence that she's got all kinds of money that helped her get elected, and it was very murky and shady. There was nothing transparent about it.
Everything is irony. That's what I'm starting to suspect.
And hypocrisy.
And hypocrisy.
Hypocrisy just abounding everywhere. So definitely keep an eye on this one. You remember last time she had set up a limited liability company so that you couldn't look at how the money was being spent. We want to be fair. Let's see how these investigations turn out. But they seem to, at the very least, be that dark money that she talks about being evil and get rid of the dark money. Unless it's, I guess, helping her campaign. I don't know.
That's exactly right. The socialist sets up the LLC.
I hate hypocrites.
Yeah, I do too.
I hate hypocrites.
They're everywhere. Melissa Francis, you were not one of them. Great to see you tonight.
Thank you.
Melissa's on final exam tomorrow night, Thursday night. Don't miss that.
I'm studying now.
Good.
I'm
You should
win.
be. It's a tough
Mark my
one.
words.
Thank you.
You have senators that are professionals, that you guys know, that have been there for a long time. White hair, everything perfect. And they're standing behind her and they're shaking, they're petrified of her. We support the Green New Deal. They really believe this stuff. And you know, it's like, it's the craziest thing. They believe it. And we will have to do something. But don't do it too early, please. Don't kill it. Because we want to be able to run against it. If they beat me with the Green New Deal, I deserve to lose.
That, of course, was President Trump taking fresh aim at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and all the Democrats that are backing her Green New Deal. Charles Payne is host of Making Money on the Fox Business Network and surely has reaction to that.
He's right. it's so absurd. And listen, we just saw a vote where the Democrats ran away from it when they had an opportunity to. But you're right. As soon as the Green New Deal came out, all the major presidential candidates jumped on board. In fact, many of them are doubling down, right? Beto's jumped in there saying, yeah, you're right. You know, we've got 12 years. The clock is ticking. Oh, this is it. The earth is gone. It's as life as we know it is over. So it's amazing. And it's not just on the Green New Deal. Listen, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has thrown her weight around on a variety of things, and she has dramatically changed the Democratic Party, and she has become the de facto leader without a doubt, without a doubt.
What about his comment about them being afraid of her?
They're afraid of her.
His word was petrified.
I mean, I think what happens...
He says, if you beat me on the Green New Deal, I deserve to lose.
Of course he deserves to lose. If they run on that, the idea, hey, this is what we're going to do in the next 10 years, and this is feasible, it's possible, you know, people are going to say, when they learn the details of this, it shocks people. It's crazy. It's you know, it's pie in the sky kind of stuff. But listen, she threw her weight around with the Ilhan Omar situation. She threw her weight around on a few other things. She is in charge. She is running the show over there. Bottom line. I will say there's a smaller group, though. They're called the New Democrat Coalition. It's 101 Democrats who would like to step away. They don't support the Green New Deal. They're not vocal about it. They're liberally, you know, the liberals when it comes to social matters.
Too?
They're not as boisterous, but there are some folks over there who have different opinions on things that will work, and ironically, the kind of opinions and kind of thoughts that we probably are looking for as a country. You know, they say that they're fiscally conservative, sort of like the old Blue Dogs. Even though they've been around since 1997, they call themselves the New Democrat Coalition of 101 lawmakers.
Thank you, buddy.
There's some pushback, but not a lot.
See you a bit later on.
All right, cool. See you.
Charles.
Thanks.